Anyone have any query? Challenge, guys. Challenge concepts, yes, no? Tags. So let's now we understand more about tags also. So you can check, guys, suppose we have multiple feature file, feature 1, feature 2, feature, yes, no? And each feature file we have multiple scenario. Suppose feature file contain and feature file also contain two, and feature and file also contain and. My requirement, I need to run only those scenario. Which scenario? Scenario 1 from feature file 1, scenario 2 from feature file 2, and scenario n from feature file 1. So as we have discussed earlier, when you run any feature file, this means it will run all the scenarios that are available in that feature. But sometimes I'm not interested to run all the scenarios that you have defined in given feature file. I want to run some specific scenario based on demand, based on requirement. Then how we can run? Then we can achieve that thing using the tags. So what we have did, I have annotated, yes, no, all these scenarios, suppose using smoke test. So this scenario we have tagged with smoke test tag. Now this scenario we have added smoke test. So tagging is nothing we can say, just a group of logical name. So all this scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, we have added in one logical group that is called smoke test, suppose. Now, when you want to run all the scenario 1 from feature file 1, scenario 2 from feature file is available too. So we can inform to the runner, hey runner, run all those scenarios that you have tagged at the rate smoke test. So this thing, guys, we can handle using tag concept. So now runner will run all the scenarios that you have marked with smoke test tag. So tags, very important in feature and scenario. Feature and scenario can be marked with tag. Tag you can use @ symbol, and after that you can write some text. In the test runner, we can specify tag which tag you want to run. And one feature or scenario can have multiple tag also, guys. Suppose I define verify login. So now we have annotated using mark with @ smoke tag also, regression also, an imported tag. So one feature or scenario can have multiple tag. And now we can run with single or multiple tag also. So you can run at a time single tag or multiple tag. You can run with combination of tags using and or condition. We can skip any scenario, yes, no, as per your requirement. So let's now we understand, yes, no, example in more detail, yes, no. So last time we have created under SRC main resources folder, we have under features file, under feature we have created tag.features. Let's now we modify this feature file, and now we have implemented tags today. So tags, guys, suppose I have one functionality, suppose feature I have, yes, no, feature, suppose I have login functionality, suppose. Login functionality feature I want to test, suppose functionality. And then, guys, we can define scenario, yes, no, scenario we can define, suppose, yes, no, valid login. And then you can specify steps in suppose I use event, reconditional step. The user is on the login page when the user enters, yes, no, valid credentials. Then, yes, no, then the user should be redirected to the dashboard page. Suppose this is one scenario we have defined. Now this scenario we have marked @ smoke tag. One scenario or feature can be marked with multiple tags. Suppose I have marked with critical also. This is a critical scenario. Valid. Now we have defined one more scenario, guys. Suppose scenario I have defined, yes, no, invalid login, yes, no, invalid login. Now given, I specify given step, yes, no, the user suppose is on the login page, and now when the user, yes, no, enters invalid credentials, invalid credential, then, yes, no, guys, then an error message, suppose as error message should be displayed, error message should be displayed. So now we can annotate using regression pair. So now we can pretty format. We can click on pretty format. So we have defined, you can check here this feature file. We have defined this feature file. And suppose we have defined one more scenario. Yes, we have defined one more scenario. Scenario keyword, we can use scenario. And now scenario is blank. Username, given keyword, the user is on the login page, suppose login page, and when the user, suppose user leaves, yes, no, leaves, the username, yes, no, username is blank. And then we can use the keyword and error message should indicate, yes, no, should indicate the username, yes, no, username is required. Now we have annotated this, mark this at the rate regression, suppose regression, and at the rate ignore. Now you can create a format, you can check. So there are, in this feature, you can check that there are several scenarios you have defined. Understand concept, guys. You can provide step implementation also, but here you need to focus first of all tagging concept. Okay, let's now we run this feature file. There is option run as cucumber feature. Now you can copy, guys, this method. Let's now we copy this method out. And now we can go to the step implementation. So tag step implementation we have defined in the SRC test Java steps. There is a tag steps file. Let's now we create. Now new, and then we can create class tag steps. Given then now we can move it. Okay, check here, guys. First, yes, no, let's remove this error. Then you need to okay, now you have defined step business. Go to your tags concept. Here you can check. Now we want to run this feature file. So go to the runner. In the runner, guys, here you can get the tag.feature. Which tag you want to run? So here, suppose I want to run all those scenarios, yes, no, all those scenarios that you have marked with @ smoke. So you can copy this and check here, go to the runner, I specify smoke tag. So if you save it, now you can check here, if you run as, there is an option run as test and test, and now you can verify which tag gets executed, how many scenarios gets executed, only one scenario. Yes, no, you can check it. You have multiple scenarios. But suppose now my requirement, I want to run that scenario that you have marked with @regression and @ignore, both, yes, no? So because regression also, @regression, if you're using @regression, okay, let's check here guys. Suppose I want to run that scenario which have been marked with @regression, yes, no, @regression. So I'm writing @regression. If you run it, there is the option run as test and retest, and check here guys. How many test cases scenario running? There are two scenarios running. Go to the tag.feature. In this, there are two scenarios, yes, no? This scenario and this scenario gets executed because both scenarios you have marked with @regression. But my requirement, I want to execute only that scenario that you have been marked with @regression and @ignore. These are two. So then what you need to do, go to the runner. In this runner, yes, no, you can specify, yes, no, which scenario, yes, no, you can check here, okay, you can copy. And here you can check here, okay. And here you can write, you can check the notes also you can combine, you can check here. If you want to combine multiple tags, you can combine using R and. So here we are using and. It means run all the scenario, yes, no, that you have marked with @regression and @ignore tag. If you run a test and test, you can check here. How many scenario gets executed guys? Only one. Why? You can check in this feature file, we have one scenario that you have marked with @regression and @ignore. Okay, so suppose my requirement, I want to run all those scenarios that we have been marked with @regression or @ignore tag. So in place of and, you can use R. So in that case, how many scenario gets executed, guys? How many scenario? Anyone? There are two scenarios. Why? It means you run all the scenarios which have been marked either @regression or @ignore. So you can check in the tag.feature file, you have marked this scenario also @regression and this scenario you have marked with @ignore. So that's why there are two scenarios gets executed. Clear, guys?
You're right, yeah.
Any doubt?
No.
Okay. Now suppose sometime you want to skip, guys. Any scenario you can check here. Suppose I want to run regression and I want to ignore. Which one? Ignore. Not. You can use not. Which time you want? Which scenario you want to ignore? That you have marked with @ignore. You can check it. In this case, how many gets executed? Only one. It means run all the scenarios that you have been marked with @regression, but ignore that scenario that you have been marked with @ignore tag. It's clear? So this is the way, yes, no, you can control, yes, no, which scenario you want to run, yes, no. So this is the way that you can use. Okay. Now one more important thing, guys, some useful tips. Tags can be placed before following element. Tags you can place before feature, yes, scenario outline, and example section. But it is not possible to place tags as a background or step, yeah, when, given, then, and these people. And one more useful tips, guys, you need to remember, tags are inherited by the child element. Tags are inherited by the child element. It means the tags that are placed above a feature will be inherited by the scenario outline or example. What meaning of this line? Tags are inherited by the child element. So you can check it, guys. Go to your tags.feature file. In this feature file, you can check here. So we have one feature. So feature also you can mark with any tag. Yes, no. Suppose I have marked all. Yes, no, all. Any tag name you can give as per your business needs, as per naming convention, what is suitable. Here you can check it. If you mark feature with any tag, that tag will be inherited by its children element. So scenario, these are scenario, the child element of the feature. So it means this scenario also has been marked with @all. Okay, go to the runner. If you specify, you can check here which tag @all I will specify. So what meaning of this line? If you run all those scenarios that you have been marked with @all tag, so you can, how many scenarios get executed? 3 scenarios. Why? Because if you mark feature by any tag, if you're running that tag scenario, actually by default, we have discussed here, tags are inherited by its children element. So if you mark any tag at feature level, those tag will be inherited to its children element. It means in all the scenario also will be marked with @r. So if your requirement, if you want to interested to run all the scenarios that are available in this feature, so you can specify feature level tag to the runner. So feature level, if you specify, automatic that tag will be inherited to its children elements. So the tag that are placed above a feature will be inherited by scenario outline or examples. So tags are placed above scenario outline will be also inherited by the example section. Okay, so any question guys still here? Anyone? Any doubt? Guys?
No.
Okay, now I'm going to discuss next concept, that is the hooks.
Okay, so Astos, next tag glue is there.
Which one?
That near to test runner class only.
In my color?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 minute. Tell me that. Yeah.
Okay, that glue. Glue also is a.
No. Glue is attribute in the
Okay,
cucumber
that's
option which specify your step definition package. Yes, no, where step definition will be available. It contains the package name where step definition is available.
Got it. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Clear?
Yeah.
It means the path of the step definition file, right?
Yes. Package. Yes, it's path. Yes, no.
Oh.
In which package your step definition is available. So you don't need to give the complete path, just you need to mention the package name in which your step definition is available.
So we have only these 3 attributes, or we have more we can add like whenever required.
Yeah, whenever you require any other attribute, you can add. Just like you want to generate reporting section also, yes, no. So reporting related attribute, yes, no. Any attribute, yes, no.
Okay. So we have means more attribute here, right?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yes, as per needed. Earlier we don't need to use tag, yes, no, every time. If you require, then you can add. Otherwise, optional, yes, no. So there are 2 main attributes, yes, no, feature and glue, because feature file you need to know, where step definition you need to know, yes, no, that you need to know. And it is up to you, yes, no, it is a choice, yes, no. If you want to run any specific scenario, then you need to specify, otherwise no need.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Clear everyone? Now I'm going to discuss next concept. Anyone any still doubt, any question, query, you can ask. Then I can move to do the next.
Ashutosh, one more file name if you want to add, then we have to just do a comma and give the path name.
Where? Attribute you want to do?
No,
Yeah.
it was in the features, you have given the path of the tax.feature file, right?
Yes,
One
if you
more
want to give
file.
any, yes, just comma and copy the
Okay.
path This is the array. You can check here. Na? You can check which value contain string array. Yes, no? You can check string array. String array means it can have multiple value. Array can hold multiple value. All the value in the form of string array. Yes, no? You can store another path. Another file name you can specify any feature file, login.feature, whatever. Yes, no? So any list of feature file you can mention here because it contains array type value. And here you can check in the tags. It not contain array, it contain only string type value. Yes, no? So you can't specify comma, yes, no, at the rate, yes, no, smoke, yes, no. You can't specify. Okay. How we can add, how we can combine, we have seen, yes, no, using add, yes, no. And you can check glue. Glue which type? It is also array, yes, no. So there might be some, suppose you are placing your step definition in different location, you can specify all those locations, all those packages where step definition is available. Yes, no? Got it?
Yeah.
So you can put the cursor. This is a very important thing, yes, no? Suppose anything, yes, no, you want to know more detail, just put the cursor, you know, and here you can check it, what is the type string array. Okay, you can hold in list of value. You can put the cursor, it contains single value, string type. You can put the cursor, yes, no? Eclipse also hints, yes, no? You can read also here. Package to load blue coded, and it contains string array. It means list of location you can specify. Clear? Any other question? Can I go ahead? Yeah, we have still any question? Okay, now I'm going to discuss next concept as hooks. Hooks is also very important in Cucumber. What is a hook? Suppose guys, how many scenarios here we define? There are two scenarios. Check login with valid credential, check login with invalid credential. But before checking login with valid credential, login personality with valid credential, you need to open the browser, yes, no? Once browser is loaded, once browser is launched, then you need to load appropriate page in the browser window. Once page is loaded, then you can start to login functionality to test the login functionality. Once you test the functionality, then you need to close the browser. Alright? Okay. Again, for same scenario, if you want to again check the login functionality with in credential, again you need to launch a browser, load a web page, and again you need to start to login functionality with invalid credential. And then finally, again you need to close the browser. So you can check in both scenarios, these activities common, just like opening browser and closing browser. And this activity, when we need to do, in both scenarios you can observe, this activity we need to perform before executing your scenario, Opening browser activity needs to be performed every time before executing your test case, before executing your scenario. And closing browser, we need to perform this activity after executing your scenario. And this is a common activity also. And this activity we need to perform when? Before executing your scenario or after executing your scenario. So instead of writing this common code, yes, no, in each scenario, that is not recommended. Here I'm going to use the concept that is, guys, hooks. So hooks in Cucumber is nothing special blocks of code, yeah, we can say function that can run before or after each scenario or step. Suppose if you want to execute some piece of code before executing each scenario, you can define one function and that is called as a before hook. If you want to execute any piece of code, guys, after executing your scenario, then that piece of code you can define inside after hook. So after hook and before hook is nothing, just define any method. Inside that method, you can annotate using before annotation and after annotation. That becomes a hook. So that is a more better, yes, no, because most of the time some line we need to execute before executing, yes, no, before executing each scenario in the given feature. So that code we can place inside a guys hook. Let's now we try to understand. We try to understand with use cases one by one. So we will move to our Eclipse ID. First, we are going to create one feature file. So let's now we create new feature file. Suppose I give the feature file name Google search. Yes, no? Google search that feature. I am going to create one Google search feature. Okay, you can remove all this thing, whatever is mentioned. And here you can define your scenario. So what is the feature first of all? Suppose my feature is a Google search. Yes, no? Google search. Google search. And then you can define scenario. You can validate, yes, no, validate Google title. Suppose I want to validate simple Google title. Google title. And then we are using given keyword. Suppose I open the, yes, no, Google home page, Google home page, and then the title, guys, the title, yes, no, should be Google. Suppose the title should be, this is the data, yes, no? Okay, you can relative format make it. Now this scenario, suppose if you want to mark with any tag, you can mark in the red, suppose smoke tag also. You can mark with smoke tag. If you want to provide implementations, you can provide implementations. Let's I will show because this is very helpful. So runners, first of all, understand guys this step you can add it. And now you can copy these steps. And then under steps, let's now we create step definition file like Google search steps. You can place it. Under that class, you can define this method. This is a method that you define. Here you can provide your implementation. Okay, if you want to provide Selenium implementation through Selenium, yes, no? So you can check it out. You can define WebDriver, yes, no? You can launch a browser. This code you need to write down, yes, no? But now I want to write down, before executing this code, yes, no? Now, okay, let's write, now we write down Selenium script also. So WebDriver, yeah, WebDriver, and then you can make changes. That's it. Now we load up the page. Which page, guys? You can pass the URL. Suppose I want to load which page? Google.com. So I'm writing here Google.com. Let's now we open the Google.com. Suppose Google.com. Once page you loaded, and then what you need to, guys, you need to extract the title. So here you can write string. You can get the title, actual title, very simple way. Yes, no? Title equal to WebDriver. In the WebDriver, guys, there is a get title method. You can call the get title method. It will return the title. And you can use assert. Yes, no? In test and assert dot assert equals. So you can pass your title, whatever title you're expecting. So this is expected title. It's passing in a parameter. Okay, you can pass actual title. If values match, then we can say test case is pass. Otherwise, if test case is fail. So I have written this code. But guys, what we need to do, actually, we need to set up browser driver first of all. Yes, no. Before loading a web page, yes, no. We need to set up a driver. So where logic we need to write down. So I'm going to create hooks, guys. Under that steps, yes, no. You can create hook diagram. Yes, no. Yeah, you can create separate folder. More better. So if you want to manage separate hooks, yes, no. So what you can do, guys, you can proper structure you can follow. You can create a new package and understand hooks. I have created a new folder package hooks, and under that hooks package, I'm going to create one class, and that I'm going to get hooks. Let's hooks.java. Under hooks, I'm going to define method here. So first of all, I'm going to declare our web driver, one web driver. Web driver have required web driver. I've declared as a web driver. Understand steps, guys, because this is step. So I have defined here one method first of all, public void setup method. You can give any name. So here I'm going to write all the browser initialization code. I'm writing in the console also. So you can debug also, yes, no, what happened. So I'm writing initializing, yes, no, initializing the browser, yes, no, initializing the browser. After initializing the browser, what we need to do? We need to initialize web driver. Suppose, let's now initialize web driver. Which driver I require? Suppose new. I created edge driver. Once the driver we have created, then we want to suppose maximize the window, web driver dot manage, and then dot window option. We are using dot maximize. Let's maximize the browser. And this method needs to be executed before executing your scenario. So you can annotate using @before hook. So what is the before hook? So before hook basically helps to execute, yes, no, before executing your scenario. So now you can run before hook, remember this point, before each scenario. So if you want to run before each scenario, this means any precondition like initialization, browser, or database connection, any code you want to write down, you can write here. So this method gets executed before each scenario. Now I have defined one more method here in this hook, guys, that is called as a tear down method. So public void tear down. And now this method we have annotated using @after. This is after hook. After hook, guys, runs after each scenario. And here you can specify any statement that you want to specify, you want to execute after executing your scenario. So let's now closing the browser. So web driver, guys, I'm writing web driver dot close method. So you can say your hook is ready, before hook and after hook. There are two hook ready, and you have defined this is a Google search feature file. This is a scenario feature Google search, and you have defined its step definition Google search steps. Now you can check here. So before scenario executed, it will initialize, yes, no. What will initialize? Hook gets executed, and now it will initialize your browser driver. Now once the driver is initialized, now you can use that. You can load web page. Which web page, guys? Okay, let's now open. So here google.com. You can copy this URL. Now here you can paste. You can say. Go to the runner, guys. Go to your runner. In this runner, you can specify Google_search feature. Now right click, there is a run as, and test and test. don't need to specify tag here. We can run again. Check here. This is not executed, I think. We need to place hooks in the same file, otherwise we will import. Your Google search. Find Google underscore search. Go to the runner. Search dot feature. There is the option run as test and if test. Okay, your test case is failed, but here you can see here. You can see here. Initializing the browser, this means your hook gets executed, guys. Initializing the browser, it initialize. And then after that you can check here your log Google search. What the actual title, where we have pass value. Here you can check here we have passed the value in the Google search. It should be Google. Go to the login steps. Google search step. You save that title. Okay, let's see, you can print a title also here. You can check. System.out.println string equal plus string. And then you can print actual title also. System.out.println equal title. So this way you can debug also what actual value you're getting. Okay, again go to the runner, guys. Run your runner. There is option run as test and the test. Now check your value. Initializing the browser, yes, no? After that, what happened? Here. Run scenario, Google search, web driver saying none. Okay, web driver value showing none. Oops, Google search. In the hooks, whatever web driver you have initialized, we need to use that web driver. Okay, go to the hooks. Okay, why is it? Because you can remove this hook driver. Why? Which driver you have required that you have initialized in hooks? Yes, no? Web driver. How you can access? This is a static member. So understand the use case. So hooks dot you can see web driver dot get. Because you have initialized your web driver. There, guys. Now here also you can add hooks dot web driver dot get title. Actually understand, guys. Which hooks web driver you have required that you have initialized under this setup method. Yes, no? So setup method will execute before your scenario. So your web driver is initialized, and that web driver we need to access here in the Google search. Okay, now go to your runner. If you run it, run as test and zip test. Now you can check that. Understand the use case, guys. And now it's working. And you can check why. Earlier, what you did mistake, guys, here you can check. Okay, have you start to use the web driver? You have declared the web driver here, but which web driver you require? Actually, we require that web driver that you have initialized under hooks. Yes, no? So that web driver, how you can access? So you have made the static member you can access outside the class using class name. So where you want to use hooks.webdriver.get. Yes, no? Now you are able to access. If you have declared here, actually that I required under this step definition, same web driver that you have initialized under hooks. So I hope it's clear how we can access. Clear, guys? And now here you can check here everything. Yeah, initializing the browser, then you can check a string, and then yes, no, scenario gets executed after executing the scenario. And then closing the browser. Then we are closing the browser. I hope it's clear, guys, what the hooks here first of all, and how we can implement Selenium script also. Yes, no? Hello?
Ashutosh, I have
Please.
one question.
Yeah, please.
In given method, that hooks is a class name, right? This hooks is class name. Means we are getting that web driver from hooks class.
The hook is a class name, yes.
We are taking that from class. Okay.
Hooks is a class name. I have created one class with name hook.
Okay. But there are two, right? There are one is hooks package and there is also hooks
Okay,
class.
you can remove
Okay.
this one. Okay, that I've created one.
Okay, you are using from the steps. Okay.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Got it.
Now this hook we require where? Yes, no? This actually under hook we are writing the initialization activity and tear down activity. Yes, no?
Yes, yes.
This activity gets executed before executing your scenario, before hook, and after hook executed after scenario. So before executing your scenario test, I require driver. Driver you have already initialized where? In the hook. So how you can access hooks driver? Hook.webdriver, yes, no? And then you can start to use. Yes, no? You have declared static member. So static member you can access using the class name. Yes, no?
Yeah.
Clear?
Yes.
So here hooks is just like a base class.
No, no, no.
Because
Hooks
you-
is a separate class. Yes, no? I'm not
Yeah,
extending anywhere. Yes, no?
Yeah.
Not extending. Yes, no? Hooks just like utility class which contains it's like setup logic and tear down logic for your scenario. This means before executing your scenario, whatever activity you need to execute, it contains after executing your scenario, whatever here. Yes, no? So this hook gets executed automatic before hook after hook. We are not required to call. This will invoke automatic before executing your scenario, and this will invoke after executing your scenario. Clear? Clear or not clear?
Means we are not
clear.
calling that setup method, Ashutosh.
No, we don't need to call it.
Okay.
This-
Directly
these
we
are-
can.
I'm saying na, this is a hooks. Hooks are a special method which invoke automatic. Yes, no? Any method that you want to execute before executing a scenario. So
Okay,
that
we have added that tag. Add before
Yes.
that tag. Okay,
Yes.
got it. Now got it.
yes, no? Any method that you want to execute before executing your scenario, that method you can annotate using @before. Now this, understand, this before hook gets executed before executing each scenario of which feature. Suppose in this feature file you have multiple scenarios, yes, no? So before executing each scenario, before hook gets executed. Clear? Clear, guys? If you have doubt, please
Yeah.
ask. Okay.
So in hooks method, we can use not only use this two method tear down and
Name of method you can give